uncomfy married woman alone, but okay, I'll take that.
Uh, yeah, George, we're looking forward to the Triple O Dynasty. We're actually going to be trophy sponsors, so we're doing more than just donating our jackets. We're hoping that we're not sure how. I haven't actually don't know how the money is going to be used or anything, but they're handling that part. We just hope the show, will continue on beyond this year, because we need women bodybuilders to step up and show up, because that's the biggest what we see is happening. The problem is the lack of competitors showing up on stage that keep the promoters wanting um, to include this division in their shows. And so if the women are not showing up for shows, then how come the promoters should be trying to, extend, um, their funding? I mean, they could use it in other divisions that actually show up. So, that's the bottom line is women have got to step up and show up for every show, and they have to coordinate, and it's going to be creative scheduling that they have to do in order to fill these spots for every show that is going to be offering women's bodybuilding. I personally think consolidation is always a great start, because that does force, it limits your options and it forces you to pick. And the way I see it is we can always grow into another show, but we've got to prove that they want to keep this division. And so we've got to prove that that they can show up and that they can work together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it has to be. Everybody has to play their part in this situation. Everybody has to be able to make an appearance. If you feel like this show maybe is too soon for you, there's other shows down the line. As you know, Triple O is the first show for women's bodybuilding to start off the year. It used to be the next one after that was the Van Isle show, but now that's gone. And the next show after that was the New York Pro. And after that, you have a couple of shows. You have the Toronto Super Show. Also, there's a show in Spain. But for a lot of competitors who don't want to travel overseas, the numbers is far distance. Now, as I said earlier, Tim Gardner brought back women's bodybuilding to the Tampa. This happened last year. Mm-hmm. And he made an announcement he was dropping it. And then the one person come in, and two people actually, is Alina Popa. And anytime I say it, I got to do it. Yo, Jake! Yo, Jake! I want that money. I want that gun. Jake Wood, he came in. And again, I believe he did it again. But here's the thing is, one of my favorite TV shows I used to watch was a Japanese animated show called Full Metal Alchemist. And there's a rule of alchemy called the equivalent exchange. Order to obtain something of equal or lesser value must be lost. For the return for women's bodybuilding for both Puerto Rico and Tampa, we lost a show, and that is the Titans Grand Prix. And this year was going to do Masters and Open. So that's a show we lost. But in exchange for that, I believe the same promoter who posts that show is also working with Natalia Coelho to bring women's bodybuilding to the show in Brazil. But again, ladies, this is up to you. Now, one person is doing something, and I had the pleasure of having her as my guest a couple of times. She's only been a pro for a short time. I didn't get to meet her. I saw her in Tampa. I didn't get to talk to her. I wish I had an opportunity to. I know she was busy, and that is Anastasia Ryder. And she stepped up. As you know, she posted this early last week, and she posted a GoFundMe. And this GoFundMe is dedicated to, as she posted right here. By now, the fans of Women Bodybuilding have heard the news about the 5 IWB pro shows have pulled WB divisions from their competitive lineups. Masters Puerto Rico, Chicago, Tampa Pro, French. I don't count those natural shows because, come on, natural female bodybuilders, women bodybuilders, come on. It's all this be like physique competitors, so I don't count them. So I put them out of the game. And he started GoFundMe, and the GoFundMe where it was originally started was at 286. Now I dropped a donation, um, you know, uh, this morning because I got my check, and I dropped a donation. Now the GoFundMe is over $6,000. Now some people here, there's some people that already raised, she's raised nearly over half of what it is supposed to be. The goal was originally here was 20. She dropped down to 12. She raised just within barely in a week's time over $6,000, and that's good. I mean, it's a start, but is it enough?
Oh, are you asking me that?
That's what I'm saying. I'm asking you your thought of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right now it's dire straits in saving, a show. And we all know that Tim Gardner puts on, extravaganzas. And so it's one of the shows that, as competitors that have competed in his shows, we definitely hate to see it go because, I mean, those shows are shows that we have seen throughout the years that have driven us. They have been dream come trues for us to turn pro. And it's like our dream was to just make it on stage to the Tampa Pro or make it on stage to the New York Pro or the Chicago Pro. So, that's the reputation that his shows, they're world renowned. They're shows that draw the best athletes in the world. And that's how come, this group is definitely fighting to see it come back. So the GoFundMe is an emergency to me. It's a reactive type of response. Is it going to be something that's, forever? I don't think so. I think as a group, they're trying to figure out how they can fund themselves, how they can try to promote themselves and change this. This was brought on sort of pretty quick. And so the group probably didn't have time to, again, figure out, okay, let's all kind of stagger shows and let's all show up. Most of the bodybuilders that I hear are going to compete. What I hear is late shows. And so, that's where there needs to be roll call and get some girls to show up early. There's still 9 weeks left. There's a lot of girls that just turned pro in December, and some that were in great condition in November. And maybe, they can swing it to be able to step on stage early this spring.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I hope so because we can use it. This is one lady I recently, she just turned pro also at Nationals, which was just about a few weeks ago. That's Kelly Larkins, and she has posted that she's going to make her pro debut at the Atlanta Pro, which is a Linda Murray, promotion show, and that's one person I think we should focus on. Like, get away from the Tim Gardners and the Steve Weinbergers. Go to women like, Linda Murray, who's been fighting for women's bodybuilding for a long time, for female bodybuilding in general. Go to someone like the Andrea and what City doing with the Triple O. Also, only reason why Corey didn't have it this year because of the cost of paying for the pros. If you can reach out someone like him, who was one of the few promoters to have featured women's bodybuilding in his show, physique and wellness. That I know. I just interviewed a young lady said she would love to make that her debut as a pro, but again, circumstances happen because of the cost of money. This is something I saw, and somebody sent this to me. Shout out to one of my little birdies. This is from Beyond the Stage. Beyond the Stage does a lot of content on the bodybuilding world, and this is from I sent it to Eunice, and we were trying to find where was the I think it was from a podcast. We don't know where it was specifically. We're trying to find it, get some, but this guy, he was talking about women's bodybuilding.
To take on the undertaking of starting to GoFundMe, promoting it, doing their thing. Now, if you're a women's bodybuilding person and you have $20,000 or you have a GoFundMe, talk to Tyler Mannion, say, I want to put on a women's bodybuilding show and pay the sanction fee and put on the show yourself. And then you can go get a venue somewhere and you can get a sanction fee and you can pay for the show yourself and get all the ticket money that comes in. But they don't want to take the risk. They want to do a women's bodybuilding show, but they want to attach it to another show. If you really want to have a women's bodybuilding show, you could just go pay the sanction fee and have your women's bodybuilding show. But you're scared that maybe nobody will show up. This is the problem with women's bodybuilding. It's just not popular anymore.
And that's somewhat the truth, because not enough women, or even when you have competitors, we have the issue of some women not even stepping up. Some women is using the famous excuse. Like I remember when I did an interview with Michelle Brandt, how she said, stop waiting till like the mid of the year. You can go ahead. If this show's out the first of the year, go ahead and get them out of the way. Like something like Triple O in the Vancouver, get them out of the way. If you feel like, hey, you don't have to, wait and enjoy the holiday, Christmas, and skip your prep, jump into it. And again, it's up to those competitors. We have here some people coming through here. Shout out to my man, DJ Jeff. He says, "Hey George, I'm eating dinner right now." I appreciate that. Also, he says this. He says, "Also, YouTube is a great resource to see bodybuilders for me." Yeah, because that's a lot of ladies, and I think more ladies should try to be on YouTube. Shout out here to my man KL, the Watery says, "Good afternoon." Say good afternoon to you, brother. Appreciate you coming through. And also, the thing is that, yeah, I would say, if you can if you get enough ladies together, at least, what's the sanction fees if you're going to do a show?
12,000.
Okay, 12,000. Okay.
And then your prize money.
Prize money says maybe another, let's say.
Well, another 3,500 for usually it's 30. Well, it's 2,500 for the first place, and then it's 1,000, and then 500 for third at most shows.
Mm-hmm.
I know last year what we did in Tampa as bad rap added additional 1,000 to the winners. So instead of 2,500, it was 3,500 for the pro and the figure. We did that for San Antonio as well. So we're trying to, from the profits of our sales, we're trying to also help promoters come up with prize money. And it's not a lot of prize money, but we all know that we do this for the love of the sport, not because we're looking for compensation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because a lot of you ladies, I remember some ladies tell me that this is not a sport where you make a living off of. If you're the lucky few, like you have Andrea or some of the ladies who compete, or level competitors who do get sponsorship, who have people that can pay for the cost of trips and stuff like that. But I would say, if y'all ladies really want to do that, find the people who are willing to put up the money. You don't have to put the names out there. They can be anonymous donors. You can, if you can cover the sanction fee, that's 12,000, and maybe another $30 or $40, $50 for venues like that. And then also, if you get someone, like I said, instead of just being like 12, like 2,500, let's shoot for, if you can get somebody to put up at least enough to cover, like maybe a good prize money, like about, let's say $600 or $700,000 for first place, another 5,000 for a second, and 3 or 4 for third, and then and also the little special like best poser, most muscular, something like that. Those little things that help out. And then really advertise yourself. Just like anything, you have to go out there, put people out there, put somebody, hey, we're having this show here and there. We want you to come. Go to your local media outlet, like local news station. Go campaign here and there. You really have to really put yourself out there as it's like a business. And I think business people go by what they see when it comes to a business. We got here, shout out to my man here, C. Cross. He says this. He says, we got the Tampa Pro back in women's bodybuilding. That's some progress. Yeah, plus Puerto Rico for masters, Also, shout out to my man here, KL says, Eunice, you think in the future Bad Rep could have a women's bodybuilding show?
That's my dream. That's my goal. Jojo and I are, trying to move this brand beyond where we can be, yeah, either sponsors or maybe even hold our own show. Who knows? I always think big. And when you think big and dream big, your scene appears bigger. Um, and so everything that I have ever wanted has always come to fruition. So, I welcome my dreams.
Mm.
I allow
The thing is,
all of the, yeah, it will happen with time. Yeah.
yeah, because you know what? That's the thing is, it's going to take time. Where's bodybuilding? It wasn't that long ago when they were kicked out of shows like the Arnold Classic. Promoters started kicking it out. Like, originally, remember a few years ago that New York Pro kicked out the first time, but then brought it back in 2020. And now it's kicked out again from that show. Arnold doesn't have it. They still, but here's the thing about the fun about the Arnold Amateurs does have the women's bodybuilding. They just added to about a few years ago. But the problem is, just like for the pro shows, need more women to come and to compete. And especially after a show like the Nationals, ladies if you didn't get your pro card Nationals and you want to do a show, Arnold is just another 6 weeks away. We should have had a plan. So you know what? I didn't get, if you knew that they have women's bodybuilding or women's physique at the Arnold, your plan should be, you know what? There's another show right after this one. Let me just let's skip the big old, Christmas dinner. Let me just go ahead. I'm still in good shape. Let me take a little rest, go on my prep, and shoot for that show. And that's why we need more women to show up at these shows. One thing is the rule is that if there's 5 or more women and enough to make up a full class, the winner of that class gets their pro card. There's a show, the Miss International, which is still part of the not part of the Chicago Pro, where Jake Wood promotes that, and the competitors there. All you got to do is win in your class, get your pro card. Last year was 3 ladies, and 1 lady won a pro card, and she made her pro debut at Chicago because they give you that opportunity to do that. Also, shows like the Amateur Olympia, shows like the Romania Muscle Fest has also a pro qualifier. The Nationals, this year's Nationals was great. We had at least counting, we had 2 classes. We had light heavyweight and heavyweight. But the problem with that, they only give you 1 pro card in each class. And I said again, Kelly Larkins won her pro card that show. She did the overall, but she didn't win that. The lady who won that overall, I think she might be making her pro debut. I don't know if it's this year, or maybe she might make it next year.
Yeah, that was what was her name from Las Vegas? Was she? Is she?
It's
Chelsea
Taylor
Dion's. Yeah, she's Taylor, right?
Yeah, Taylor Schmuck.
Yeah, Taylor. Yeah.
We have here a comment from my man C. Cross. He says, Arnold has a problem with muscular women. That's the problem line. He's insecure that he don't have his muscular physique no more. He's got a dad's bod. Well, like I said, okay. You got to think about it. Arnold's now almost 80. Most of those guys can't maintain that same look. He's not Conan, anymore. But again, that's his show. He do what he want. He can give out nearly over $500,000 to the winner in the men's class, but still the women that's still there, like fitness, wellness, bikini, and now fit models still get pennies. And a fun thing about his show, you don't have to pay for the live stream. He does it free. So that's one thing. Would that help if you okay? But then you got to make money. But how does he make? How is he doing it? Is it mostly from advertisement, you think?
Okay, tell me again, who's making money?
Well, he doesn't, Arnold, he doesn't do, his live streams are not paid for the Arnold Classic. It's free.
It's free. It's got to be advertisement. It's got to be, the festival. There's no telling what the booths cost, because we know that the Olympia booths are $4,500. That's where they start. Okay. Yeah. So that's how come, it takes It takes a big brand to be there. And his show has been going on, I mean, a long time. And I think his expos are even, what I hear, bigger and better than the Olympia. So I'm not sure what the booth space is at the Arnold. So it usually takes a company that can, either take the loss or is that well known that they know that they're going to make back that $4,500 easily, and plus more. You got companies like Gasp, you got companies like Iron Rebel and Hostel and those, Better Bodies, and those are the leading companies that show up to those big shows. And so when you have a company like ours that's just getting, started, that's a pretty big, heavy, booth space cost. And it's pretty risky because that your brand doesn't have that it's not seen as much as Better Body. So this is where it's been for us. It's been a challenge, but we're getting it out there. And we hope that with now the circumstances in women's bodybuilders, that we'll have all females, behind us, because that's all we've all, our goal, our mission since 2023 was to help increase participation. And so we've even, we started at the amateur level where we got some that where we, paid for posing sessions with like Hella Trevino, so that, they could it would inspire them to get on the amateur stage. As well as like Roxy, we scouted her 2 years ago and started to court her. And, I kept in touch with her, and it's like, when you get ready to get on stage, you let me know, because we'd love to sponsor you. And so that's what we did. And of course, she got her pro card. We had her step on stage with women's bodybuilding and women's physique, because we've got to count as a body. We've got to have at least 5 people there for a pro card. And so even though her physique may have not been, we didn't quite know where her physique was, whether she was women's physique or women's bodybuilding. It's like, let's do both. So we encouraged her to do both. And so we sponsored her for that show. And of course, she turned pro, and her goal is to, she wants to be a bodybuilder. So her goal is, I'm going to work on my size, and I'm coming back as a women's bodybuilder. So there you go. We've got to start them at amateur level, because that is the foundation. And, I think it'd be great if some of these pros would court some of these amateurs and speed up the process. If they could give them, hey, look, this is the list of coaches that we would recommend for you. If, if they could suggest, these are the types of, things to stay away from, or things, just mistakes that people made over the years, so that you can speed up the process and make it more efficient for them to get on stage sooner than to stumble around like we had to do back in the day, where it was just a hit and miss and, bro science. I mean, now there's so much available out there that it took me 8 years to get up on stage as an amateur. My very first show, it took me 8 years in training to be able to get up on stage. In today's time, probably half of that, and somebody could be on stage as a women's bodybuilder.
Here, this is our man, our Merlin of women's bodybuilding. Shout out to my man Jeremy from the Art of Female Muscle. He's coming through.
Hey, Jeremy.
Hi, how's it going?
Welcome, brother. Got it. Thought, yeah.
What was that?
George is cutting out.
I guess he is. Yeah.
He's in slow motion.
Hey, Jeremy.
George, you're in slow motion.
Hey, y'all. Let me do this.
Jeremy.
Y'all keep talking. I'm gonna put myself out. But I come back.
Okay.
Y'all keep talking. Go ahead.
How are you doing?
Yeah, y'all keep talking. I come back. Maybe there's something going on.
Oh, I'm doing great. But just was able to get out of the gym for a few minutes and come out here and get on this podcast. And I'll have to go back.
Oh, yeah, same here.
Yeah.
I've been convalescing all day because I banged my head yesterday, so I'm at home from work today, so I'm doing better.
Oh no, what happened?
Oh, I just tripped,
Oh
banged my
no,
head on
Jeremy.
something. So I had a smashing headache this morning, but I'm doing better
Hmm.
today. So we're back at it tomorrow. So what have you guys? What's been the subject so far?
So far the subject's just been, the women's bodybuilding division, the dire straits that it is in, and you know, what are some of the solutions?
Yeah, wish I could say that I didn't see it coming, but
Yeah, and we
I
saw
mean
this coming.
it's there.
Yeah.
But I mean, they are doing something that I've been saying on this podcast is there's some people at least are starting to put their money where their mouths are. You've got Anastasia Ryder's GoFundMe that's for I think it's going to be for Chicago and Tampa Pro. You've got have you guys talked about Kelly Larkins and her
Actually,
new project?
we're about to. Kelly reached out to me too, and so we're trying to collaborate on how we can be a part of that. That documentary. So I think that's really super impressive as far as the work and the thought behind that documentary that she's putting together. It's called Behind the Physique
Right,
Bodybuilding. Yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah.
I'm looking forward to see how that goes too. She started a GoFundMe for that as well.
Oh, is that right?
So yeah, I posted that on the link in my IG so that people wanted to contribute to that too. To start because since she's starting that up, but it's good to see that people are putting their money where their mouths are because I saw that Anastasia's GoFundMe is now half to its goal, but and again it's like that's half the battle is getting the show there. The next step is you got to go.
Exactly,
People
and
have
that's
to show up.
just yeah, like I was telling George, this is it's sort of like a knee jerk reaction as far as like the GoFundmes. The group has to get together and figure out a way that we can contribute in a manner where we're self supportive.
Right.
And
Exactly.
so coming up with ideas like Kelly's, coming up with websites, coming up with different type of technology that these girls are very smart and they're young, and so they are techie savvy, and that's all it's going to take. It's going to take them exposing, as far as getting out there. In order to get mainstream and to get fans, they're going to have to get out there beyond the gym scene.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly right.
I've suggested, get out of the gym scene. Let's get a group together. Let's go um, to different type of events where there's a lot of women. I took my mother to a musical back in July, and it was the Lion King musical. And I was probably 3 weeks away from the Tampa Pro, so I was in pretty good shape, and I had a very fitting outfit on, and so I can't tell you how many women came up to me and complimented me on my physique. And so that's what needs to happen. That was, a good way of me putting myself in an event in which I was not in the gym, but I was seen. And I really think that the women have to, do more of this. Volunteer,
Yep.
volunteer at a young girls' events. That's how you're going to pique interest, and that's how you're going to be impacting the future generations.
Right. They have to get out of the gym and they got to get in the street. That was why I keep mentioning this girl in France. Her name's Sarah Hodes Salbo. I'm trying to remember. I'm probably butchering the name, but that's what she does. She just goes out to well-traveled thoroughfares with her little box that says bodybuilding is art, and
Yeah,
she'll go there and she'll pose.
yeah,
And she'll pose for like 30 minutes, half an
yeah.
hour, something like that. And I look at that and it's like, I wonder what the impact would be if more female bodybuilders did just that. They
Mhm.
devoted some of their part of their time just to go out and do something in that way, and like you said, in the public sector, not just strictly in the bodybuilding community, but to get out there in the general public. And I'm surprised that show promoters don't do something like that, or at least doesn't seem like they do something like that in order to promote the shows.
Right.
But what better way to get attention than to have a bodybuilder who is absolutely ripped and contest ready, get out there and then just pose for like an hour and then use that as an opportunity to say, hey, you want to see more of this? Hand out flyers.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, something like that can even draw a crowd. So,
yeah. But the problem is that the mindset of it, they think like maybe people might have an issue with it. But people are like, hey, that's weird. But the thing is, you're going to have those people that are curious. They're like, say, what is this about? And just looking and just checking it out. We have here my man Johnson. She just popped in.
How's it going, Empire Nation?
Yeah,
Hey, how's it going, Josh?
Doing good.
Yeah. This goes back to also, you talked about Anastasia earlier. And Anastasia did this while somebody shared this with me also. She did an interview for a local news network in Florida. And that's something like we've seen Sherry done it, we've seen Natalia Quayle done it, and you've seen Linda Murray done it. And I think
you've seen Teresa Ivanchik as well. Yeah.
And I think that's one thing I think some people go approach these news networks, like your local one. You don't have to be the big like ESPN or something like that, but just just the locals that would probably help, promote, the show. So here she is, and she's getting a little interview. We're gonna check it out. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's taking some time, as always. Folks, while we're waiting for it to start up, but yeah, you have to really present yourself and don't be afraid of what people think or say. That's the problem. That's the thing that we worry about what people thought. You got to be more vocal and more out in the public.
Yeah, just get yourself out there. Go.
We also got to just wake up to the simple fact that life is a combination of positive and negative. I mean, negative is going to come.
Turning to the community. Group of women athletes is turning to the community for
He's still
help after they were suddenly shut out of an upcoming fitness competition.
Where it is? Give a second.
Anastasia Ryder is among the athletes who plan to compete at the Tampa Pro this summer, but this week they learned the women's bodybuilding categories were dropped from the show. Event organizers say the female division was cut due to a lack of sponsors. Well, now the women are working to raise the funds themselves in hopes of keeping their competition alive.
Most of us have been training for a very, very long time, and we look forward to these shows every year. This was finally a place where we were able to find our home, to find our people, to be a part of something that felt like we belonged and were represented the way we wanted to be. And now to have that taken away from us, it's like, okay, where do we go from here?
A group has started a GoFundMe page to help save their sport. If you'd like to help them out, you can find a link in this story at WFLA.com.
Yeah, I mean,
nice.
I donated a bit because I have to wait. My check dropped to the first of the month, and it dropped this morning. We have here is another guest. A man we hadn't seen in a long time. My man here, Raheem Hamilton, coming through.
Raheem, how's it going?
What's going on, everybody? How's it going?
Hey, Raheem, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I was just listening to the topic at hand, and I've been saying this 1,000 times since I've been on the show. The only way this sport is going to survive is you got to have a person. You got to have a bodybuilder who has a personality, charisma. And on top of that, you also got podcasts. Podcasts is like, sorry about that, I'm outside, so bear with me. So podcasting is the wave of the future. They have to be seen on podcasts. That's just local news. They got to get out there. If see, the thing is this too. The biggest opportunity you had is what 2019, 2018, when Danny Garcia was entering bodybuilding, and she's a fan of it. This is where the female should have linked up to her, because she's part of $7 Studio, Dwayne Johnson's ex-wife. She could have, y'all should reach out to her, see what she could do if she's interested in supporting the field. Because at the end of the day, if this sport is going to die, because I said it again, I said it 1,000 times, you don't have athletes who have personality. They don't want to be in front of the camera. You can't promote, you can't beg people to support your sport if they don't know what is going on. People actually don't know that female bodybuilding exists. You have to be in front of the camera. You have to be out on the front. This is what you do. Podcast, do some movies, sometimes you gotta be kind of make fun of yourself as a sport, do comedy, do what you gotta do to get noticed. But if you're not gonna do anything, no one's gonna notice you, and then guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna be out here, disappear, asking for money again. This is gonna be 2014 all over again. I've been saying this again. You got someone who is your champion, but as a champion, you're supposed to be an ambassador. That means you go out to the communities, you go all the local station, podcasts, everything to promote your sport. You don't just win and just go home and say, I'll wait till next year. That's just the reason why the sport is dying. You can't do that. You have to be proactive. This is what's needed. This is the key of it. If you're saying that bodybuilding is a sport, you have to reintroduce this sport back to the general public. Because again, they think it's a pageantry. Doesn't matter if it's male or female. They thinking this is a pageantry. All you do is on stage and pose in trunks and swimsuit. How is this a sport? You got to re-teach the public that this is a sport. And by doing that is going to podcasts, television, hell, sometimes just doing movies. You could just get yourself in movies and everything. So this is what you got to do. Because you can do a GoFundMe. Okay, cool. You raise that type of money. Then what if next year is the same situation? What are you going to do? See, you got to stop. You got to, if this sport's going to survive, you got to think like all these sports business do. You got to think like a business person. Not, it's not just it's just not just, social media, but it's also the old tools, television, radio. You got to get yourself out there. If you don't get yourself out there, no one's going to know.
Exactly. It's like the WWE. You got to have good promo skills. You got to have good charisma so people can see you. You got to do like gym tours or whatever.
I think I'm just gonna say this one thing. I feel like this. Truth be told, I think they should change about the Miss Olympia. Since we focus on Miss Olympia, since we focus on female bodybuilding, I think the winner should be the one who has a great personality. It should be because everybody come in great condition. Let's see, like if you get a female that can not scare the mic and she talks good and she got great charisma and she'll go to all these podcast shows and do what she has to do to promote the business. You should just like, okay, this person got charisma. I'm gonna go for her. Yeah, I know Andrea Shaw looks great, but she's not out there. This one right here that came to second, she's not scared of the camera. She will promote this she'll promote the sport and everything. She'll do what we need to do. Like she'll go from the podcast, radio, she'll do movies just to keep the female bodybuilder out here. So I think that should be one of the things they should also crown for Miss Olympia as well. You have good charisma. I think that should be one of the top things they should do as well.
That's the thing. The problem is they're not gonna go that way. They go by like good example of this. Iris Cow was not the very more pleasing looking woman, but she had a great physique and she was dominant. One thing was it promote her enough, and she's a businesswoman in mindset. That's why she was doing shows like Miss International and the Olympia. She had to make her money because what was back then was $25,000 for top prize for the winner, and that's not much. Even back then. And again, Andrea, she's doing something. She has Triple O Dynasty along with Sydney. She's talking to people. She's doing seminars. She's doing a lot of stuff. But the thing is, she needs somebody who can help her with the other part about getting to the public, because some of these bodybuilders are not very.
But it's like what your guest Bad Rap said. But she's just doing it around the people who go to the gyms. Is she
Right.
doing it to? Is she doing seminars for people who are not into body? This is what I'm trying to say. She listen. I'm not listen. When I say this, I'm not knocking her. I'm just saying it says you gotta be out there and talk to not just people who are in bodybuilding or into the fitness. You gotta go out there to talk to people who are not who to introduce them into it. Because one day I know everybody like to hate on Arnold, but when Arnold was doing his fitness stuff, you know what he's doing? He was introducing people who never went into a gym. He went out there did seminars to people who this is the first time introducing to bodybuilding or to fitness. You get what I'm saying? That's a huge difference. So now he had people who loved him who weren't even bodybuilders or gym rats, and then he had the gym world community that loved him. You get what I'm saying? So the question is, okay, she's doing the seminars, but are the seminars for people who are just getting introduced to it, or is it people who are still there? That's the huge question. If it's just the people who are just there, then how she expanding the sport?
Yeah, a good example of that would be